Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. This video is for Nick in Kent, England. 95 SL500 throttle body that had very bad cables, and some gears were sticking, and upper cover connection point was broken, the linkage was stuck, so a few things. But now everything is in order. So first things first, obviously the unit came in, I had to clean it up, so this is how it came out. Certain areas have a little bit of etching in, but overall it cleaned up quite well. Just a little bit here and there left, but that you cannot get to. It's like etching. Maybe if you bead blast it, but I don't use bead blasting. I used to use some soda blasting, but no more. The back side of the unit, as you can see, is actually pretty nice. Shut down the activation. Gee. Okay, so as you can see, this is the back side of the unit. Cleaned up well. So I did have to replace a cover because connecting point was broken. This little connecting point was broken. When I removed it from the linkage, I noticed that it's all scratched up, so it wasn't really smooth. So I put another cover on this throttle that I had from parts unit. So it worked very well. It's very nice and light, no binding whatsoever, so that is a good thing. There is a possibility to weld that connecting point back, but this was kind of scratched up. It wasn't smooth, so it had to be grinded. It's just cheaper to just put another cover since I had it, so I didn't want to weld the piece back from factory. The little connecting point here is welded from underneath. Okay, so the welding is actually done under, but you can only weld it from the top here in this piece, because otherwise you will have to break these welds, and then you can just flip it upside down, weld it from underneath, grind it down. So that's just too much. So I just decided to install another cover and be done with it. Now the wires were really bad, of course, so that was all taken care of. This is the linkage that throttle came with. Now Nick, you have to make sure that when you install this back, because I see how you undid it, you undid the other part of the linkage, so you have to make sure. You see, I didn't move the nut sits here pretty much tight, which is good. So when you screw it in, make sure that the length is observed, proper length, because if it's not, if the length is too long or too short, too long, what's gonna happen is it sits like this. So if the linkage is too short, then it's going to pull the throttle lever away. Once it moves the throttle lever away, then you might trip limp mode, because it has to rest all the way down on its idle stop. So this is important. You see, it has to be here. Cannot be here, it cannot be here, it has to be here. So when you put the linkage back in, and then you just put this thing back on, because I also have a little bit of lubrication there for you, so I worked the clip so it actually can slide on and off, and that's why it was very, very stuck, so I couldn't even turn the clip. It was very bad. So now it's all worked up and it goes on and off. So let's see if I can show you this. Oh, now you bought. Let's see. Okay, so now it's clipped on. So as you can see, and I can undo it. With one motion. Okay, so that's because the circlip is now lubricated, and you see nothing broke off. This is a nice clean point over here, so this is gonna go on and off, no problem. So just make sure that when everything is installed, the linkage is long enough to actually touch the idle point. Very important here. I'm going to include this back in the box with the package. So now let me pause this video for 1 second. I'm gonna continue in a minute. Okay, so now the next test is the actual readings. These are the readings that computer sees from this particular throttle body. So what can we see here? We see 4.24 on top. That's what they all are at, 4.24. This one sits at 0.45. I've seen them from 0.4 to 0.6. So we're about there. Usually they're like 1.47, but 0.45 is actually okay too. So once you start moving the lever, of course readings will change, and that's good news. So everything changes and throttle doesn't go into limp mode while I'm changing the position of the throttle actuator. Also micro switches switch over. That's another good thing. On off. Once I move the lever, they should switch over to off on. So to me this is fine. So I think we're pretty much good. Now I'm going to leave it on the bench overnight as long as I can have it, because I know it has to go in the mail. So since it goes overseas, it would take some time. So I want to have it on the bench at least overnight and let it get nice and hot. It's been working for, I would say, 3 hours by now. So I have a good feeling about it, because 3 hours is going to get that clutch coil inside this throttle body pretty hot. So that's a good test. So let's see where we at right now. So we're about 92. This is Fahrenheit though. Let's switch to Celsius. Okay, so 35 Celsius. So usually hottest point, let's see where we are at hottest point. So around 34 it was, right? Whereas that cold unit, for example, it's only at 14. But again, this is aluminum, it dissipates heat well. It's like a big radiator. So see 35 Celsius at the hottest point versus 14. So it's 30 degrees hotter. That means, you know, just to show you that it actually was energized, not like I just put it on and then I'll show you the readings. So it's been working. And once it passes, I'll be ready to mail it back. So basically that's going to cover it. So it's a long video, but a couple of explanations that are not usual because of the linkage and whatnot. But other than that, the unit is ready to go. Okay, so this is going to be all. This is Victor at RestoringMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.